The following program contains shocking expressions of free speech. If you suffer from being tongue-tied, ankylosing, Randall might not be right for you. Check with your romper room teacher.
Proclaiming the truth in the highways and byways of the world. Fighting for justice in the dark alleys of politics. Raising the voice of resistance to a fevered pitch. Man enough to walk his cat. Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. It is I, your servant, Randall. Hey, that's Mr. Right-Wing Rabble-Rouser to you, homeboy. Oh, we've got a great program for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Today's program brought to you in part by CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, the unindicted co-conspirator in terrorist financing, and by the Congressman King hearings. Hey, we're not McCarthyism, but we're working on it. I'm going to take a quick break. First, a word from my friend, Joey the Hammer.
As you can understand, we have a lot of time here to consider what we would like to do when we get out. I thought about going up to my cousin Vinny's outfit in Chicago. The problem is this guy, Emmanuel Ram, is trying to redistribute the power bases of the various family companies, and we don't know how it's going to shake down. I thought about going into the Muslim Brotherhood. A lot of assets being transferred, a chance to make a little something. But these people are crazy. This Allah thing and the being in here in prison with these Muslims, they're morons. I want nothing to do with them. Then I thought, well, New York City, it won't work. They broke up the family business. The feds did when they unjustly prosecuted us, I might add. Then I thought to myself, perhaps I could go to work for my friend Harry Reid. Harry's in Vegas. We've got numbers that we can run out there. And my father told me, God rest his soul, when I was a young man, he said, son, if you can go into the government, do it, because it is the ultimate in organized crime. Harry Reid, I'm going to come and see you when I get out.
Welcome to the program, friend. Before we get to the top stories, I want to talk to you very quickly about something. Hopefully tomorrow we will show you an impromptu interview that I did with a very sincere and very misguided, slightly unstable woman at the U.S. House today when we went to cover the King hearings. And as Cochise and I were driving back, we were talking about the difference between love and hate. Because she was saying, and it hurt me deeply, she was saying that I was hateful. That I was hateful because I was angry about Islam and about people being killed by Muslim militants. And we've figured out that love and hate are not opposites. Did you know that? The opposite of love is indifference. You have children, maybe? And if someone tried to hurt your children, you would be filled with anger and you would hate what they were doing because you love your children. This nonsense about tolerism is a tawdry, cheap replacement of real love. If you love somebody, you're going to tell them when they're in danger. You're going to tell them when they're wrong. You're going to tell them if their soul is in jeopardy because you love them. And yes, you might get angry about something that they are doing or something that they are saying that is self-destructive. So, if you do happen to get angry over the right things, not a self-consumed anger, but an anger for justice. If you do happen to get angry about lies because you're standing for the truth, it's a good thing. It means that you do care. It means that perhaps you do love. And if you'll just tolerate every nonsense and every evil that curses the face of the earth, you are not loving. You are indifferent. Let's go to the news. Well, Pete King has begun what will go down perhaps in history as the McCarthy hearings of the House. You comparing Congressman King to Joseph McCarthy? No, but it sounded fun. Peking is getting bludgeoned on all sides by the media, by Muslims. Oh, you're so intolerant. Oh, you can't. How dare you pick on a religion, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, people. We're going to get to the content of why they need to shut up. But first, this exclusive footage from me and my cameraman right there in the Capitol. Roll tape.
We are here in the Cannon Building. Right behind me is room 311, where the hearings are in progress right now. Hopefully we'll get in a minute and be like one of the really important people. But no matter what, we'll be able to play tape of some of the testimony today on the program. My question is this, as I have talked to various people online and various journalists that are here. Will Congressman King ask the right questions? People want to say Muslims are peaceful, Muslims are peaceful. Well, clearly most Muslims are peaceful. Otherwise, there would be extensive acts of violence coming from them. The question is not, are Muslims peaceful? The question is Islam and Sharia law, which is a part of the very fiber of Islam, is Islam an inherent threat to basic human rights? Is Sharia law a threat to the U.S. Constitution? And the answers to those questions are yes.
I never got in. We went down there. We wasted our whole morning. We were there till 12:30 or something, and we never got in. So that's it. That's all I've got. All right, I'm sorry. That's it. But I have to tell you, I did do a lot of interviews with various journalists in the hallway, handed out a bunch of our television series, What Would Muhammad Do? A couple copies of one of my papers on the Muslim Brotherhood. And maybe, I don't know, maybe my presence in the hallway talking to journalists will be of some value. We'll see. All right, let's talk for a minute while I've got a few seconds left here. People in America look at religion as a personal, internal thing. You walk down the hallway in a Walmart or or the aisle in a Walmart in the Midwest, everyone looks pretty much the same, okay? Your religion is your thing, my religion is my thing. Whether you even have faith, that's your thing. But we view religion as this separate compartment that's always peaceful and it's something internal to you. Islam does not fall into that category. Historic Islam, starting with Muhammad, proceeding through the first four caliphs, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. And then as the first 100, 200, 300 years of Islam swept the world, literally making it all the way up into France and as far as India. Islam was not just a little personal belief that some people from the Arabian Peninsula held. It was a battle cry, Allah Akbar. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his messenger. And inherent in that religion is the insistence that the entire world bow its knee to God as Muhammad explained him and to Sharia law. You cannot separate Islam from Sharia law. It is a part of the very fabric that cannot be torn. And so what I said to the various journalists that I spoke with was, and I'll say to you, that the policy implications of Islam for America are very, very troubling, very thorny. At very best, or at very least rather, we must consider a mosque and devout imams to be an outpost and an ambassador of a foreign law code. Okay? This is a law code that is committed to the subjugation of this nation and to the abolition of our Constitution. Because our Constitution and Sharia law, they are incompatible, friend. They are incompatible. Look at Saudi Arabia. Look at Pakistan, if you want an illustration. So the problem is people get bogged down with Muslims are peaceful, Muslims are peaceful. Clearly most Muslims are peaceful. The average Muslim isn't going out and hacking people's heads off. They're not consistent with their faith, perhaps. Perhaps they're not really dedicated followers of Muhammad. But nevertheless, Islam itself, its insistence that the world is Dar al-Islam, the house of surrender, or Dar al-Harb, the house of war, its insistence, its grid through which it sees the world, Islam is a threat to human civilization, to human rights, to human freedoms. And as I said in that little clip in front of the Cannon Building 311, we have to begin to explore the reality that it's not necessarily individual Muslims that are the problem, but that something internal to Islam itself is in fact a threat. And my fear is that Congressman King simply won't go far enough in what he discusses. I've got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The mountain roads in West Virginia are outfitted with signs that say, "Look out for fallen rocks." To which my father said, "Let the fallen rocks look out for themselves."
Moments with Moses. And if by this discipline you are not turned to me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you, and I myself will smite you sevenfold for your sins.
Welcome back to the program, friend. By the way, if you want to follow us online, where we're constantly sending out action items, incredible writings written by, I won't say who. Over there, yeah. Go to terrycast.com and sign up for our email list, all right? It's free, and you will get things there that I promise you are not spam and junk mail. You'll get stuff that'll help make you into a culture warrior. So go to terrycast.com, sign up for our free email list. Back to the news. The Senate, as you know, has voted against the House continuing resolution, which might mean that we've got a government shutdown. I'm so happy. It's hard to do Clint Eastwood in this voice, I swear it is. High noon at Congress. Could it be that they shut down? I hope so. Listen, I want to cut to the chase, all kidding aside. There are pro-lifers who are embarrassing themselves right now, taking bus trips and doing press releases that are praising the House for defunding Planned Parenthood. It would be like, let me just paint this word picture for you. It'd be like Goliath standing on the field of battle, saying, "I defy the armies of Israel this day," and blaspheming, etc. And David gets permission from Saul to go onto the field. David walks out, and Goliath says, "I will feed your flesh to the fowls of the air this day." And he curses him by his gods. Meanwhile, David looks at him and says, "I come against you in the name of the Lord. You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord, and all the world shall know that there is a God in Israel." And then David takes his sling and spikes it on the ground and starts doing a victory dance. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then the Jews come running down the hill and they grab David and they hoist him up on their shoulders and they say, "David, David, he's our man. He just mocked their champion. David, David, he's our man. He just mocked their champion." And Goliath is standing there like, "What is wrong with you people?" Roar! And then he attacks because he's still alive. People are cheering the demise of Planned Parenthood when no stone has hit the head, people. And they're applauding congressmen who voted. Look, all they did was go out onto the field and talk a little trash, okay? That's all they did. They're spiking the football when they haven't scored a touchdown. And we are hoisting them on our shoulders saying, "They're our heroes." Listen, that's all the pregame show. The real fight is now, right now, when the Senate said, "We're not going to give you this continuing resolution." Now is the time for the House to fight. All right? So, when the House says to the Senate, or what the House should say to the Senate rather is, "This is non-negotiable." Period. Now, please understand this. The president cannot force the House to spend money. The Senate cannot force the House to spend money. All spending bills by the Constitution must originate in the House. They control the purse strings. You understand? So the President and the Senate cannot force them to spend money. So the House can say, they have the constitutional authority to say, and they certainly have the moral mandate to say, this is non-negotiable, period. But there's more, friends. It's that we have to say to the House members, this is non-negotiable. See, there are members of the House who want to say, well, it's in the Senate's hands now. We've done what we could do. It's all up to the Senate. No, wrong, sorry. We're not stupid. We're not going to fall for a ruse, and we're not going to give you a pass. It's our moment of duty to tell the House, this is non-negotiable. And what that means is, if they fail in their duty, and they cave in to the hissing of Planned Parenthood or the fear of bad press or the pressure of the Senate, if they cave in and they vote to fund Planned Parenthood, then guess what? They have voted to fund Planned Parenthood. They have voted to give money to the largest baby killers in the Western Hemisphere. They have sided with Planned Parenthood and with baby-killing Democrats and Republicans. They've stood against the babies, against the commandments of God, and against us, the pro-life movement, their pro-life constituents. And they must be held accountable at the next election cycle. That is what non-negotiable means. I'll be right back with some marching orders. Don't go away.
Fail faster, Randall. Here, let me help you out. No!
It is a fine thing to be honest, but it is also very important to be right. Sir Winston Churchill. Welcome back, friend. Grab a pen and paper. Write this number down that you see on the screen. 202-224-3121. That is the number for the United States switchboard. You can call them. If need be, you can give them your zip code. If you don't know who your House member is, and they'll tell you. But if you've got a House pro-lifer, a House freshman, you need to call them now. Don't wait. Call them now. And say to them, it is a non-negotiable that Planned Parenthood be defunded. Baby killing is their trade. Now they'll say, oh, monies that come to us from the federal government don't pay for dead babies. No, but they underwrite the total infrastructure. You understand? This is a criminal enterprise that is involved in covering up pedophilia, crimes against minors, child prostitution rings, and because the government helps them pay their rent and their lights and all this stuff, they can have babies murdered cheap, on the cheap, and these so-called minorities are getting their babies killed at Planned Parenthood cheaper than they could do it at another doctor's office or at a hospital, precisely because our money is helping to underwrite them. So don't fall for their nonsense. Call your representative now and tell him or her defunding Planned Parenthood is a non-negotiable. I'll be right back. Can wicked rulers be allied with thee, who frame mischief by statute? They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. But the Lord has become my stronghold, and my God, the rock of my refuge. He will bring back on them their iniquity and wipe them out for their wickedness. The Lord our God will wipe them out. John Adams said, "In my many years I have come to a conclusion that one useless man is a shame, two is a law firm, and three or more is a Congress." That from our second president. Well, is our Congress going to be useless? That depends in part on us. Politicians don't see the light until they feel the heat. So bring some heat to bear on them right now. I would rather see a short-term government shutdown than to continue funding these baby killers. God bless you.